much. Well, first of all, good morning to everybody. I appreciate you being here. As always, everyone is muted for right now, but you can unmute yourself literally at any time. And I would ask you to please unmute yourself with questions as we go. Unfortunately, due to the many restrictions that we all have with time and our personal business and life and all kinds of stuff, I really don't have time to return calls during the week. And I know some people get upset, but when I ask them, why didn't you ask in front of the group? Oh, I was shy, or I didn't. Listen, I'm asking you, I'm telling you to please go ahead and ask away right now. This is the time. I don't make myself available. I don't make myself out to be available. And so therefore, we can be here for as long as we have to, which I think is pretty fair to just do it here in this group setting. Plus, it answers a lot of the questions that other people might have because they skip things. And that's just the, excuse me, that's just the way it is. And so anyways, I just wanted to start by saying thank you for being here. It means the world to me because as we all know, one of the nice things about what has happened during this pandemic, and now that it's nearing the tail end of it here in the US at least, a lot of businesses went out of business. A lot of people are hurting like never before, but I'm very happy to report that members of our team have done exceptionally well. The income is up. It didn't go down. And I can't tell you how proud I am of everybody that has leveraged, the tools that you know how to leverage. And if I bring something to the table that maybe inspires you to do that as well, well, I can't tell you how proud I am of that as well. But I want to say thank you to you and all the leaders. I think the secret to our team is that we have great leaders that are out there swinging their swords, if you would, in battle, regardless of what goes on around them and in the world. And so today we're going to highlight one of those gentlemen because the timing just simply worked really, really well with what I was going to talk to you guys about, which was the update, which I was going to make it super short, but it might be a little longer than super short, just to give you an update on the church campaign, on how it's going and so on. I wanted to just take a moment. First of all, first things first, I just want to recognize Mr. Alan Guerra. Happy birthday to you. It was his birthday yesterday. So if you can or you want to reach out to Alan, happy birthday, Alan. I don't know if he's on the call or not. But anyways, it's his birthday, and I just wanted to take a moment to wish him a very happy birthday as well. Now, going back to the church campaign, one of the things that's happening right now, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of businesses are hurting like never before. And it's really important for you to understand that among those businesses, if you would, are churches. I mean, churches have a lot I don't know what you were looking for on the link. The link expires. Yeah, just so you guys know, when I give you a link to get this, get that, do this, do that, they're going to go. It's only good for a day or two. That's it. And so we don't go ahead and, they don't stay alive longer than that because, and I'll tell you why later, but yeah, the links are probably dead right now, but I'll get back to that in just 1 second. And so anyways, like I said, I just wanted to remind you that businesses, especially churches, are hurting. A lot of churches have closed during the pandemic only to never reopen again. They just simply got too deep in the hole, financial hole, and had to give up the location. Very few churches own their buildings. Most churches lease or rent the building. And so therefore, it's important for you to understand the power of the church campaign is alive and kicking more than ever before. And so if you are interested in helping your church, if you are interested in helping churches and in the process of helping others, helping yourself, this might be of interest to you. This is Mr. Alan Guerra, very, very good friend of mine, been with us for years and years now, does very well. And most of his business comes from churches. And, a lot of these churches that he used to work with, as you can imagine, closed down because they had to. But a lot of them are reopening. I think that one of the things Alan has done really, really well is really refined the church campaign as how he defines it and how he runs it. And he had a potential client that he met that I'm not going to get too much into it, but it's a pastor. And then once he went ahead and did a virtual meeting with the pastor, and the pastor came on board as a client, this is from an out-of-state church in Idaho. I think it would be not the smartest thing for Alan to jump in a plane and go to Idaho to do a church campaign without having something first in regards to funds or in regards to something that justifies it. And so the way he did it, that doing fine. All right, somebody says that yes, okay. Shazad reached out to her church and was told that they got government help. And that's wonderful if they qualify for it, trust me. But what we're talking about, and it doesn't have to be your church necessarily, so many churches are going out of business. There are so many. There was a big fire last week in LA, and the common denominator was that it was an empty church. They had just simply walked away. And it's very difficult to stay in business without the funds that are needed. Now, some have very deep pockets. That's why I stay away Mega churches do mega well because they have a lot of money. But I'm talking about the small, maybe medium-sized churches that still have hundreds and in some cases thousands of members per se, but are hurting as well. And so anyways, one of the nice things about this campaign, and I'll just share this with you from Alan, is he was able to do that with the pastor from a distance through Zoom. He became a client. I believe the wife became a client as well. And after that was done, was invited to come to Idaho to do a church presentation in Idaho. He went there, and as a matter of fact, this took place this past Sunday, and he is back home already. He flew back during the week. But one of the things that I always tell people to do is keep an eye on your numbers. I don't care if you do a police roll call or a teacher's luncheon or staff meeting or anything or a church campaign. You got to know your numbers, man. You got to know your numbers, because I think one of the things that we fail to do sometimes is we call a spade. We fail to call a spade, and we will only learn if we review our numbers. And so this is a couple of days ago that he sent me on Thursday. And this is his report. He did the presentation. It was a small church financial presentation. He gave out 20 of the trip vouchers. But by the way, the price is going to go up. If you haven't gotten your membership at the discounted price, you'd be double foolish not to do so when it's so cheap. And it's $39 a month. And, I don't know how you can be in any kind of business without having that. But anyways, marketingcertificates.com is where you need to go if you want to partake in that. I don't help anybody out anymore with certificates. I used to, none, zero. Somebody called me, hey, just this one time. And the answer was no. If you're a businessman, businesswoman, act like one. And and if you can't do that for whatever reason, then you shouldn't be in business. Very simple. And so anyways, he gave out 20 of the trip vouchers. He came back with 24 appointments. Already completed 6 appointments. From these appointments, I already submitted 4 IULs. From those 4 IULs, 2 were already approved in less than 4 hours. I have 12 appointments, and then it continues on the right-hand side, as you can see here, already scheduled for next week. Great trip. I taught them about financial security, and they taught him a lot about potatoes. And so that's pretty cool. Exchange one for the other. This is, after all, Idaho. And so the point that I'm making is that the numbers can be pretty good. And so this webinar is not going to be how to conduct one, because we've done that a million times, and you can find that on our YouTube channel if you want to learn how to do that. It's about time we stop thinking about things and start doing them. And if this is something that interests you, that intrigues you, your upline, and by that I'm talking literally your upline, is either well-versed or will just simply send it to the next person above him or her to get the information on how to do that. We don't do them for people anymore. We stopped doing that a long time ago. We'll give you the information. We have Zoom available to coach you and a lot of other things, but that's about it. And what's really nice about what Alan has done here, which is what we have done with others as well, which I'm going to show you here in just one second. Let me just pull it up real quick, is by leveraging the power of technology, meaning all of the appointments that Alan is doing, they're going to be in Idaho. He's going to be here in California, and just literally, or maybe even from his beach house in Mexico. But the point is that because the technology nowadays, it broke the barriers. And that's one of the nice things about the pandemic, that it really has brought a lot of people into the 21st century and gravitated towards this thing called Zoom. And there's no reason for anybody to do that. So if your church is considering it, do it. If they're not going to do it, then go somewhere else. The point of it is that you don't have to limit yourself to any one denomination, because at the end of the day, we are helping places of worship. I don't care if they're a mosque, I don't care what they are, or a church, or I don't care. I mean, the beauty behind what we do here is that we just want to help people. But at the same time, you want to make sure you do that in a smart way. I think all of us, and I start with myself, I've been learning the hard way for many, many years now as to what usually works and what usually doesn't work. And one of the things that I will tell you, nothing beats going into a church workshop with an existing client already on the books, because you've made something. You've got to get compensated. You can only last for so long without making any money. And that's not what we want. We don't want people who just want to go out there and just simply give for the sake of giving. We do that anyways, but along the way, as you do the right thing is done to you, and you have the financial security and stability that is required. Otherwise, you can only say, I'll give an example. I talk to people who just don't have the money for the vacation certificates, and I feel for them. I've been there, done that. But I knew that the only way to get out of that was I got a loan. I got a personal line of credit from a company called Norwest Financial, which was basically a legal loan shark operation based out of Inglewood. And the only thing that I was left to do is take the damn loan. I didn't want it. I just needed like 1,200, 1,300 bucks. They ended up giving me like 4,000 because they had like a 50 million% interest rate on it. And I told the guy, I don't need that much money. I don't want that much money. But he's like, it's either this or nothing. And I took it with that stupid interest rate behind it. But I needed seed money. And, the rest is history. And so what I'm saying is that sometimes you got to do what you got to do in the right order. And it starts with belief, making sure that you do believe you're in something. Because people tell me all the time that they love what they do here at FFS, but they're not doing a whole lot. So they must like doing nothing. And so I'm telling you, get in the habit of being productive, get in the habit of learning. And so that's why we wanted to give you this update today. I don't know if Alan's on board today or he took the weekend off because this is his birthday. Alan, are you on? We're just going to see 1 second.
Yes, I am.
Oh, well, first of all, thank you. First of all, happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Congratulations on Idaho. You probably never want to see a potato again in your life.
Thank you.
But this is not what I seriously wanted to do, was just congratulate you on staying on top of your numbers. The numbers don't lie. This is, after all, business that's driven by the law of averages. And the only way to make the law of averages profitable, and that's the challenge for a lot of people, because they're in the law of averages and they're broke. And the only way, I was taught this literally years and years ago by a gentleman that I admired like you wouldn't believe. And he taught me that the only way you make the law of averages profitable is by applying the law of high numbers to it. That's it. And so too many times we apply the law of low numbers to that, and that equals failure. That equals heartache, heartbreak, wallet break, broke, and so on. That you have to understand that. So that's why the church campaign lends itself so well, because in most churches, and I'm not talking about 1 million people, God forbid you have 20, 25, 30. How many people were in the church, Alan?
This was a relatively small church. Javier is absolutely correct. The focus for my program, I focus on small to medium-sized churches because that's where the greatest need is. This particular church maybe had 60, 70, 80 members. That's it. It was a small farming community. I don't usually go that far for something I don't know. So everything Javier said is right on. This was generated by technology. A current pastor of mine, a client of mine from Colorado, called me and wanted an IUL for his wife. We got her approved right away. He said, I know a pastor in Idaho. He doesn't have any life insurance or retirement. Can you help him? I said, absolutely. We helped him. The pastor said, my wife, she had cancer years ago. Do you think you can get her approved? We submitted the application. We got her an approval. So they were so happy and thankful. He said, would you come to Idaho and do a financial presentation to my church? So I don't go just blindly. There has to be meat on the bone. But there was plenty. The opportunity was tremendous. And I came back. with plenty of appointments. And at the end of the day, we know that just one, closing one IUL pays for the trip and then some. But obviously, we don't go that far for one. And thank God we had a very successful trip. We came back with other pastors. If you help pastors of small churches, they will recommend you to other pastors. It's the tree that gives on giving. And so this campaign can be very, very profitable. It is my primary campaign that I've done through the years. And by the way, since I have the mic, just to let Javier and everybody know, I'm putting together a very nice professional system for agents that are out there that would like to work the church campaign. I'm going to be launching it in about 3 weeks. For anyone that's interested, reach out to me, and so we can partner, where I can assist you and show you and teach you how to do this right and do it using technology, more importantly. So because it can be very profitable. Javier is correct. Small churches are hurting right now. they've lost membership, they've lost revenue, and we show up with the solution, with assistance, with money, fundraising efforts, and all for free. We don't. I had a pastor ask me a few weeks ago, if you come and do a fundraiser for my church, how much do you keep? Do you keep 10% of the money that comes in? And I said, no, all the money stays for the church. Everything stays there. And they appreciate that very, very much. So they open their doors. Anyway, so anyone that is interested, reach out to me, and I'll give you more details later on the church campaign, because there is a lot of need right now, especially for the small churches.
Perfect. Thank you. And what I wanted to do, I don't want to take up all the time. We don't, I don't want to take advantage of Alan either, but he did tell me about a program that he's putting together. I don't know how much it's going to be, but the point of it is whatever it is, I can guarantee you it's worth it. But I just really wanted to take a moment to, congratulate him on having done what he does, but at the same time to remind everybody. I just had a question as to how do I approach churches? Well, one of the things that we do, which we don't do anymore, is what I'm going to share with you here on the screen right now. Let me pull it up real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. And we initially started the church campaign many, and I do mean many years ago. And the way we used to do it back then was through this fundraiser that you should see on the screen. I hope it's a barbecue fundraiser. We don't do that anymore because the way we used to do it is fundraiser, barbecue, and then we would come back during the week to do the actual workshop. We don't do that anymore, even though it was extremely good to us. And I do mean extremely good to us. It was too much hassle. You would have to, the way we did it back then, we would donate the actual food for the actual barbecue. And so let's just say it cost you $300. We would donate the $300. They would cook, and everything that was sold, they would keep, which was a no-brainer. And usually we can still do this. And I'll come back to that in just one second. We don't lead with this anymore. We lead with the fundraising element. And the fundraising element that we lead with is we come in, and for everybody that donates, $50 to the church, of which 100% of it goes to the church, we will bless them. You bless the church with $50. We'll bless you with a trip to Jerusalem, let's say, where it's the stay, not the airfare, but the stay in Jerusalem, which we're doing right now. I just got an update from from the owner of the company that they're going to start reopening Jerusalem for vacations again. It was blocked out because of the pandemic, of course. Israel is leading the world in vaccines, and so they're getting ready to reopen. Like a good portion of the world, they're getting ready to reopen as well. And so that's the way we used to we do it now. Nowadays, it's just a simply fundraiser. We do it only during service, usually on a Sunday. We take probably no more than 15 to 20 minutes total as it relates to what we do. And 100% of what's donated to the church itself stays with the church. We don't keep anything. And so it's not threatening at all, because that way only the people that want to give you their contact info will be contacted. And it's an incredible thing to do. Now, how do you find churches? That's probably the easiest, because you get in your car, you drive down the street, and if you see a small, and by small, I'm talking about a lot of these storefront churches, as I call them. They're usually in strip malls. There's usually smaller buildings of just standalone churches. You always start by asking, but make sure you always lead with the fact, excuse me, I'm looking for the decision maker, the leader of the church here, because I'm interested in conducting a fundraiser in your benefit, but I want to talk to the right person. And once you start saying things like donations or fundraisers, they'll just zip you to whether it be the rabbi, the priest, the pastor, whoever it is. They're going to put you either in contact with him or her, or with the correct person. There are churches where there might be a board or there might be a decision makers, but once they see what it is, and most importantly, in my opinion, once you go ahead and show them on your phone, you don't have to bring your laptop. Just your phone that you probably have with you. You just simply go to the website for the flip chart and just page through it to show them not only how many we've done in the past, but how much money we can potentially raise for them as well at absolutely no risk to them. It's just literally a no-brainer. And that's what it starts with. And so, like anything worthwhile, the beginning is the hardest part. And the reason that it's the hardest part is because it requires that we get off our butts. That's why it's so difficult. Not because there's a whole lot of difficult things to go through. It's just we got to stop learning, stop reading, stop watching, and go out there and start doing. And for a lot of people, that could be a little challenging. That's just the honest given truth. And so therefore, you have to be in a position so that you can go ahead And just as you are, the way you are right now, you're good enough. Just grab your phone, and God forbid you have an iPad. I love the iPad because, or a tablet, because it's bigger than my phone. Even though I used to have the big old massive oversized phone, I don't carry that one anymore. I got the smaller one now, and now if I need to go somewhere, I'll just bring my tablet. And that's the ultimate way to do it. Hey, I was just driving by and I noticed your church, and I wanted to see if I can get in contact with the decision maker, because we are currently, my company's spearheading a few fundraisers, and I wanted to see if your church could use some extra funds. We could probably make it happen. Get you on the calendar. Don't want to promise you anything, but it's obviously up to the decision maker. And usually by the time you get to that person, the decision's been made. Hell yeah, we're going to take the free money, because they just know that they need it, especially as it relates to right now. And so the way it works in an ideal situation, if you have a team, and hopefully you do have a team, usually between you and the other person or your teammate or teammates, somebody has an in, somebody belongs to a church, and then there are other ways to go ahead and approach it because of their background or whatever. But at the end of the day, just because somebody has a background with churches doesn't make them better. It just makes them more comfortable. And so if I don't have anybody that's that comfortable with churches, guess what I do? I walk in myself. I just walk in. What's the hell is the worst thing that can happen to me? They tell me no. I mean, if you're afraid of no, you're in the wrong business. I mean, that's just the way it is. Because more and more, I will tell you this business is going to, I'll give you an example. I'm not going to blow it for the people that are doing it, but we have people back in schools right now that are booking stuff already, but they're not bringing as many people with them anymore because they don't need to. And there's not as many yet. And so what I'm telling you, if you're just sitting there waiting for people to just give you stuff, you might starve to death. And so this is going to definitely be a gut check type of time where you're going to have to go out there and do what you need to do to start and end with yourself. And it's not a selfish thing. That's what I always tell people. You got to take care of yourself first, because that's the nature of the beast. That's the nature of the business. That once you do that, then you can help. Helping other people only comes into play when you can no longer handle business yourself. That's the business model that we're in. And for somebody who says, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to do that, well, it doesn't sound like you bring much to the table. I don't know what to tell you. I don't really want to run, if you would, with that kind of people, because of the fact that I really would want to work with people that bring something to the table. And I think today more than ever, you have to learn how to do that. And so now that we have Alan and I'm on the phone, obviously on the webinar, I want to answer any questions anybody might have about anything. So let me give you a first pop quiz just to see how well you guys do. Just one, and I'm only going to do one. Instead of sitting here doing a bunch of them, let me just go ahead and do this one. You should see Google. Who can give me the domain to the flip chart, the church campaign flip chart? I hear crickets. I'm not going to give it to you, just so you know.
Yeah, Javier.
Go.
The one that I have, it says online.flipchart. It's kind of the actual link.
Well, we have a domain for that. To avoid that, which thank you. You have it. That's good. That is the official domain. But we do have a one that cheats.
Okay.
What is it? Anybody?
This is the RMB one anyways.
No, we don't want the RMB. No.
Okay.
Anybody?
Churchflipcharts.org.
Okay. Churchflipchart.org. There you go. I mean, but you see what I'm talking about? That if you didn't know that right out of the gate, just and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but please don't take it the wrong way. But if you do, well, that's on you, not on me. But that's part of the problem right there. If you can just simply blurt it out or reach down to your browser and open it up, well, then now you know that the problem lies more with you than with anybody else. Don't go around telling me that you're prepared when you're not. Because if I was to ask you, by the way, who's the first person who can tell me their first name? What's your first name? Anybody? First name? What's your first name?
Anybody?
What is it?
Bethany.
Okay. I mean, did you have to go look it up? Did you pull up your driver's license? Your birth certificate? Hold on, let me go to the safe to get my birth. I mean, because it's just you. And it's not that it's the church campaign or the police campaign or the teacher's campaign. It's just that it's success. Success has to be you, and you have to be one with success. And these are the tools of the trade. If I go to work, somebody tells me, "Oh yeah, I'm a police officer. Let me see your gun." Well, I don't carry a gun. Well, I don't think you're a cop. I mean, it's very, very simple. You're not going to tell me. Let me see your backup gun. Let me see this. Let me see that. I don't know what to ask a cop. That if you don't have it, buddy, I'm sorry, you're not a real cop. I mean, it's just that simple. And so I think it's important to know that if you don't know this, and again, I'm not going to get into it, not beating down on anybody, but I don't like to sugarcoat things either. I hate wasting my time. That's my pet peeve in life, especially going through what I've been going through. I don't have time. I don't have time for nonsense that a lot of the time I did. Somebody had called me, and somebody I care about, and we were trying to do a strategy session, and we were doing a strategy session as to why. Oh, bless you. Damn, somebody's got it. So anyways,
sorry about that.
No, but like I said, and I was saying that let's do a strategy session. And the first thing I told them is break out your simple mind map, your simple mind, which is the mind map. Well, let's see what you got going on. What's the game plan? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish? Which route are you taking? Which campaigns mean the most to you? Are you going down to friends and family? Which, if that's the case, let's see how many hops or webinars you're doing. Are you doing the police campaign? Are you talking the church? I mean, what are you doing? Well, I'm just kind of hoping. Well, you can keep hoping all you want, but I don't think a lot of clients are going to show up by just hoping. It takes people that are willing to not just put in the work and roll the dice. I mean, for all we know, Alan goes to Idaho for God's sakes and comes back with nothing but a bunch of 10 pounds of potatoes. I mean, that's not going to pay the bills. That's not going to cut it. But he was smart. He had something going and had gotten paid on several things before he even left San Diego for Idaho. That's what we need more people to do, to be more strategic and understand and appreciate the fact that everything on all the roads lead back to you. You have to, mature in the business. You can't be the same. You can't be messing around the same way you were messing around last year. If you are, you're dead in the water. It's that simple. Nothing's going to help you. I'll tell you that right now. But if you're out there trying, and by trying, I'm talking about doing. Too many people try in their minds. I'm trying my mind. I'm thinking of this. And I'm thinking, well, stop thinking and stop doing. It's amazing what happens when we do those things. We give you the tools. You have everything you need. I mean, I'm not going to show you the flyers that we have where you can custom design your own flyer with your information. Now, you don't need it. You have what? So you can have something else to archive in your Dropbox? I mean, it's about us going out there and engaging. And timing is everything. And right now, my recommendation is to go out there while not only churches desperately need you, but before they go out of business. I'm telling you, it was heartbreaking. It's a beautiful church. Not most of it, a good portion burned to the ground by some homeless people that were just living in the parking lot. And it was empty because it went out of business during the pandemic. What a heartbreak. What a heartbreak. And I get it. There's not a lot we could have done back then either. We're not going to go into a church that's empty. But now they are coming back, both here in California and in most other places. And if where you're at, they're not coming back, well, then go somewhere else. I don't know what to tell you. And so I think it's important for us to understand that the reason I shared this with you today is because I was going to talk about the updates on the church campaign anyways, number one. But at the same time, now that Alan told me that he was coming back already from Idaho, I was like, oh man, this is perfect timing because we can use numbers. I love numbers. If you go do a police roll call, I'm going to ask you how many officers were in the roll call, how many filled out the appointment card. Remember, not the questionnaire. I don't care if they have questions. I don't want questions. I need appointments. So how many? To me, it's an appointment card, not a questionnaire. It's an appointment card. And so, how many filled out the appointment card? How many appointments were kept? And out of that, how many pieces of business were submitted? And you'll see it's like a funnel. Just go down, 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 down. Excuse me, and that's fine. And so that's what I'm saying. You start with a big roll call or a nice sized roll call. 18 people is very, very big. Or God forbid, you have 40, 50 people in the church, or you have 25 in the staff meeting. You start with this many, and then this many will fill out the questionnaire. The appointment card. Then this many will actually keep it, and then this many will go ahead and actually submit a piece of business. And that's all there is to it. It's a funnel. No more, no less. It's just about. So if I was to ask you, how many people did you talk to this week? I don't know. You don't have to tell me, but it's important, and I do mean very important, that we all at least become familiar. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about, the church campaign. If the church campaign is not for you for whatever reason, I don't see how, if it's not for you, you're probably in the wrong business because we're in the people business, number one. But if it's not for you for whatever reason, well, this is something for your teammates to be able to leverage. And somebody's got to be doing good somewhere. Otherwise, we're all broke. And I can tell you that just what I mentioned last week, and I'm not going to say the names anymore because I didn't get their permission, but man, over 40 something, $50,000 in a single payday. That's unbelievable. That's more than the average California makes in a year. And this coming Tuesday, again, somebody else's time. Not to mention all the people that are making very good money. They're just not making stupid money, but my good God, people would, kill to have that kind of an income. And so that's why I'm saying that you need to be well versed in the campaigns. And well versed doesn't mean to just know that we have a church campaign, but be well versed enough to either run it yourself or teach your people to run it. Don't send them to me. The only way you're going to send them to me is you're going to get the virtual version of myself on YouTube. That's it. I don't do one-on-ones. I don't have time for that, because here we are on a Saturday, and if people have questions, wonderful. If people don't have questions, that's wonderful too. But don't come bug me, because this is the time and the place to do that. And between here and next Saturday, go to your upline. That's what he or she is in that position to do. And thankfully, we have a lot of great leaders that know how to do that as well. Any questions about anything from anybody as it relates to church campaigns and updates? People ask me, can they still do the food fundraising barbecue? You could do it. Absolutely. You can do anything you want. But I think that it's a lot more efficient when we do the trips. And the reason that that's so big, thanks to Alan, as a matter of fact, Alan's the one that when we were at the Marketing Boost symposium down in Cancun, he asked the owner of the company to add Israel. There's a lot of pool. You know how much pull that has? We were scheduled. As a matter of fact, my wife and I were going to be there for Valentine's Day of 2022, I guess next year. And so I don't know what the hell. 2022 for next Valentine's Day, we're going to be in Israel. And so part of the reason that it's so important for me is because whether it's easy or my schedule's full, I have to go. First of all, I couldn't go any right now because they were not letting people in. So we just went ahead and booked the February for Valentine's Day. So we're going to be there. But to be able to, can you imagine you standing there and just telling the church, look, listen, let me tell you, I just came back from Israel. I was in Israel 3 years ago. And I'm telling you, I encourage you to consider making it at least a once in a lifetime type of trip. I mean, we're sitting in a church, for God's sake, and so much of it comes back to Israel and, God forbid, Jerusalem and all the old holy sites. I mean, how many people here would like to go and experience that in person? Raise your hand. Now, imagine if you could experience that, you and a loved one, and up to 2 kids, because they have to be, under whatever, just for donating and giving to the church, which is something you should do anyways. But you're going to bless the church today with $50. And we're going to bless you with a 7-day stay in Israel, in Jerusalem, to be more precise. And for many people, that's the only trip they'll take there in their lifetime. Don't miss out. And you will raise more money, and you will be a greater hero to them than anything else. And so, just to see how it does his matching, open up your mic, Shazad, if you want to, and just ask him. I don't even know if he's back on. Alan, if we could do, Alan can do role play approaching a decision maker. I will tell you this, and the answer is, I'm going to ask him. I mean, if he can do it right now, but I will tell you, one of the secrets in business is to not overcomplicate things. I can stumble to a church, for God's sakes, and just ask them, can you guys use more funds coming out of the pandemic? And the answer 9 out of 10 times will be yes. And that one time will be a lie when they say no. But Alan, are you on? I don't know if he's on. If he is, I'll ask him. Well, absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem. I mean, that's why we're here. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of things that I might take for granted or Alan might take for granted. But the number one thing above anything else is you have to be prepared. Now, I recommend you having a tablet versus your phone, but know that on a worst case scenario, your phone works just fine. It's just that most of the decision makers are older. They're most like me. I'm using glasses now. We have to use glasses, and so what I'm saying is that it's important for you to be prepared. The number one thing people don't do is they don't prepare. So, like I said, go to the domain. Most people right now would not be able to go to the domain because they don't even know it. So have it. I mean, how hard is it to just bookmark it on your browser? So whatever, you have it on your phone, you have it on your tablet. It's marked as a favorite under church campaign, a little tab so that you know what it is. And then when you do that, Alan, are you on? Let me see. I know he just came back in, so maybe he's muted. Alan, we can't hear you if you're here. But anyways, and so what I always do is I always have that ready on my phone. Are you there, Alan?
I am.
Oh, okay, there you go. Alan, Shazad had a question. Go ahead. Go ahead, Shazad.
So, Alan, what I'm interested is, okay, once you go to the decision maker of the church, then how do you proceed from there? Okay, you have the domain, you show them the domain, then how do you proceed? That's the part I like to know how you approach it.
Well, like I said earlier, what I'm going to do is I'm putting together a real nice program for those that are interested in working this campaign. The answer, because the answer to your question it depends. There's a lot of things that there's a lot of variables that can be involved with the church. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is connecting with whomever the decision maker is, right? You got to
Okay.
connect with that person so you establish a relationship. Pastors, just like police officers, if you will, by very nature, are very leery. They're very skeptical.
Right.
Their job is to protect their flock, and so they are not going to allow just anyone to come into the church to tell their church members who knows what.
Right.
You know, they're very protected. Okay, so that is why it is very important to establish that connection correctly. In this case, it's very important that to come across as a professional that's there to bless them and to help them, not to sell them anything. In this case, we are here to, here's my company's name. We select a couple of churches every month to partner with them to help them do a fundraiser for whatever needs they have. At the end of the day, it's how you present yourself. Before the pastor buys your program, they have to buy you. Because they're going to be very leery, right? You're coming out as an outsider, so you have to be able to sell yourself correctly, that you're not there to take advantage of the situation, that you're not there to sell them anything, and that you're there to bless them. And if you can do that, if you're you got to have, in the gift of being an influencer. And if you're able, and it's not very difficult to do, but if you can just get beyond that wall of them thinking that you're there to take something instead of that you're there to give, they're going to be very recipient. Especially, Javier is right. If you have a tablet with pictures with the flip chart, then you begin to show them pictures. This is who we are. This is what we do. This is what we've done. And then the pastor will put his guard down, or the decision maker, and they will be very interested, especially the smaller churches. They're hurting for money, and they will listen to the message. In addition to that, like I said, I'm putting together a program where I will partner with you. And if you have interest in that I can help you in some of the more difficult situations where I might be able to help you, assist you to close the deal, if you will, to be able to open the doors so we can get into the church, do a presentation, and walk away and give away some trips, bless them back, and walk away with for ourselves with preset appointments.
Do you have your contact number or your email so I can email you directly?
Yes, if anybody's interested, you can take down my email. It's just Alan Guerra, my first name, last name, Alan Guerra, FFS at Gmail. Alan Guerra, FFS at Gmail. If you have an interest, let me know, and I will reach out to you, and basically I will partner with you to help you generate some business. I won't open the church for you, but if you have done the first steps, I can help you close the deal.
How small of a church are we talking about? How many members can?
Well, we don't know. I mean, honestly, to be brutally honest with you, I love small churches. Small church can be anything less than 100, but I've done plenty of churches that have less than 50 members, 35
Right.
members, 40 members.
Right.
I love those because they are very welcoming, because they
Yes.
don't have a CPA or people with a ton of money that are going to turn you away because they think they know more than you do. So the smaller churches are very open to listen to solutions. They're very open to listen to some, hey, I want to bless you. I'm here to help you do a fundraiser to bless your church. They're very receptive to things like that. So how many, what's the number? I don't know. I mean, Javier has already said it. Javier has already said a couple of times, and he's right. The small churches that you see driving by, like Javier said, you can probably roll out of your house and you can stumble into 2 or 3 in the shopping centers. You see them everywhere. These are going to be. I mean, I don't care about the number. I don't care if it's 5. I don't care if it's 100. But you can usually tell them because they're usually, in shopping centers. They're usually small. Small. You can tell by the building, the size of the building. They don't have 1,000 membership. There's probably 100. It's probably 150. It's probably 75. Just by the size of the building, you can deduct that it's probably a small congregation. So I mean that's a sign. I don't, for me, I don't. I always ask the pastor how many members he has in his congregation, but that's only to tell him potentially how much money I can help him raise. For example, Javier uses the $50 donation. I use the $100 donation. In my program, we ask people to donate $100, and if they donate $100, I'll give them a trip locally, Vegas, Palm Springs, Lake Tahoe. And if they donate over $200, then we'll give them a trip to Hawaii or Cancun. And people want to bless their church. People want to go to Hawaii. People want to go to Cancun. So it's not that difficult. So the only reason I ask the pastor for his congregation, if he tells me, man, I only have 50 members, I said, Pastor, great news. I can help you raise $5,000 in 5 minutes. And he blows their minds because it's easy math, right? Whatever number times 100 is easy math. And he blows their minds. I said, what? And I tell them, I'm going to do it in 5 minutes. And then once you show them.
Sorry, Alan.
What's that?
I was going to ask you, is Santa Clarita too far for you, or you can travel over here?
Is Santa Clarita further than Idaho?
Okay.
Is Santa Clarita further than Colorado? I mean, I got clients. I do churches all over the nation. So, in fact, I've been invited to speak 2 weeks from now here in the high desert in Victorville to a convention of pastors, African American pastors. They're having a convention in Victorville in 2 weeks, and they're pastors from all over the nation. So I expect to come out of there invitations from all over the nation. So, but I don't take invitations just lightly. Like I said earlier, that bone has to have some meat in it. Otherwise, there's no way I travel very, beyond my my house unless I feel there's something very good. The potential is very real.
Okay.
But those personal questions, I don't want to take Javier's time. If you do have more specific questions, I'd be glad to answer those. But reach out to me personally. I don't want to take Javier's time for that.
Got it. Thank you.
Well, I will tell you guys, and everything that Alan is saying, all I have to say is amen to it, because he's right about everything. And so, like I said, it's just something that my experience and recommendation is don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Just like when we started with the police campaign or with the firefighters campaign or with the teachers campaign, at some point, nobody knew nothing, but people somehow stumbled through it and understand the fact that what we have to bring to the table is needed by so many churches right now. It's not even funny. And so I hate to use the word easy because it's never easy, but I will say that it's easier today than a year or before that, because of the simple fact that there's so many places that need that. Now, like he said, they donate X amount of money, local vacation, they donate more, they can go all the way to Israel and go to Jerusalem type of thing. I mean, if that's what they want to do. But the point that I'm making is that it all starts with us making a decision, internal decision, to go out there and do something about it. Don't overcomplicate it. If you don't have a church that fits the bill around your immediate neighborhood, get in the car and drive to LA. You're going to stumble about 5 per block if need be, in just strip malls alone, let alone standalone churches. And again, it's not based on any one denomination. If you want to make it that based on your religion, bless your heart. If you want to be more like me and completely open-minded and just offer it to anybody, bless your heart as well. My only recommendation is to just don't think about it too much and start doing. And as long as you do that, I think you're going to find yourself in a very good position. Any questions before I wrap it up? Any questions? All right. Well, if no one has any questions, I just want to say thank you for all that you do, all that you have been doing and you continue to do, and congratulate everybody that's doing their part, Alan and all of our other great leaders and everybody that's continuing to generate business during times that a lot of people took all this time off. And so I can't tell you how proud I am of everybody there as well. But again, last call for questions, comments, or concerns before we wrap it up. This video will be up on our YouTube channel here in a little bit, which you can find at what is it? FFS on YouTube.com. FFS on YouTube. FFS on YouTube.com. Register for it. Go ahead and make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Hit the little notifications bell, because that's what's going to trigger the notifications when new videos come up. And we keep it all on here. You know, unlike Alan. And I will tell you this: before anybody asks Alan, I know the answer is going to be no to going to this convention he just mentioned with the pastors. That's a little more advanced. You got to learn to crawl first, and once you crawl, then you'll get to the rest when you start to walk and run and all that other good stuff. But it's a great time to be in business. I will tell you that right now. And lastly, marketingcertificates.com is where you need to go to check out the vacation incentives and open up your account before the price goes up. Marketingcertificates.com. It's a whopping $39 a month right now. And I cannot even tell you how many of these things Alan has given away in churches, but yet how much it has made him for just simply spending the $500 or whatever it might be a year on his membership as well. So go ahead and visit that site, marketingcertificates.com. And I look forward to seeing you again next Saturday at the same time. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Javier.
Thank you, sir.